Hi, I'm Phil. In these story analyses, I take a look at a film in detail in terms of its structure, character arcs and theme. Today we're looking at Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, directed by Michel Gondry and written by Charlie Kaufman from a story by Kaufman, Gondry and Pierre Bismuth. Make sure you've seen the film. Spoilers ahead. It's a love story, and the ending may well bring you to tears, which doesn't tend to happen with Charlie Kaufman scripts. I love his scripts, but this one actually gets you here rather than just here. So what is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind about? Well, it's a science fiction, essentially. It's not the primary genre. The primary genre, I think, is a love story and a relationship drama, or dramedy, if you like. But it is to some extent a science fiction because the procedure that Joel and Clementine undertake does not exist. And it's a very backyard garage, even though they've got offices and things, but it's a very rough and ready kind of procedure that they turn up at night in a van and start erasing your memories while you're asleep in your own bed. And we see through the entire film how slapdash this whole thing really is. But nevertheless, it's a scientific, technological premise for doing this. The opening sequence is the classic indie film trope of Joel waking up, discovering his car has been damaged, choosing to get on the wrong train to go to Montauk, where he meets Clementine.
Only I could meet someone new.
They start talking on the train on the way back.
My name is Clementine, by the way.
I'm Joel.
Hi, Joel.
Spend the day together.
You're not a stalker or anything, right?
I'm gonna marry you. I know it.
Oh. Here's Osidious.
Then we find Joel crying in his car. And we've now jumped forward. But we don't realize that as an audience just yet. So the inciting incident, that whole opening meet cute sequence with Clementine, is an in medias res, as we call it, and which is a scene that comes from roughly the middle of the story, or in this case, towards the end of the story. The real beginning of the story, linearly, is when we see Joel crying in the car. The first act turning point is when the friend couple presents him with the card that they'd received.
What is it?
I don't know. It's some place that does a thing.
And this suggests to Joel what she had done. He goes to the place to find out, learns about the procedure, chooses to have it himself.
Is there any risk of brain damage?
Well, technically speaking, the procedure is brain damage, but it's on a par with a night of heavy drinking. Nothing you'll miss.
This becomes our first act turning point. And as they start to record his memories, with all of the Clementine artifacts that he's brought, he's already undergoing the procedure. This is a very non-linear film after all. And indeed, the very first memories of Clementine that are being erased are the ones when they're actually mapping the memories with those artifacts. That's the first memory of her. That's the most recent.
Okay.
Potato head.
Next item.
Okay. Potato head.
Just focus on the memories.
So now we have a non-linear structure going forwards and backwards at the same time, with Patrick and Stan
Why are there so many wires?
in his bedroom as they carry out the procedure. Intercut that with the actual memories being erased in reverse order.
I don't know if I like this.
Take the most recent, and we go back to
This is the last time I saw you.
when they were having an argument.
I'm sorry, okay? Clem, I didn't mean it, all right?
And we steadily go backwards through those memories, ultimately to the first time they met. The midpoint of the film is when Joel gets to his first really treasured memory, going backwards, and he wants to hang on to that. He doesn't want to lose that memory.
Pretty. Roswiak. Please let me keep this memory. Just this one.
He wants to lose the bad memories, but he would like to keep the good ones. And he starts to fight back against the procedure.
I could die right now, Clem. I'm just happy. I'm going off.
Can you hear me? I don't want this anymore. I want to call it off!
So after Joel decides he doesn't want the treatment anymore, he enlists the aid of Clementine. This is Memory Clementine. And she has the idea.
The eraser guys are coming here, so what if you take me somewhere else? Somewhere where I don't belong. And we hide there till morning. Look at this. Wow, it worked! Look at this dress, man!
This then becomes a problem for Stan in particular.
He's off the map. He's off the map.
Where?
I don't know where. What do you mean? I don't know where.
When he ends up having to call in the doctor, the Tom Wilkinson character.
We should call Howard!
No way, no sir, man. This is my. I can handle this. I can't call Howard. Okay, I'll call Howard.
So the entire second half of Act 2 is essentially Joel and Clementine on the run.
I've never seen you happier, baby Joel.
There it is.
But Stan and Howard track Clementine down and erase her and continue the work.
What the heck was he doing there?
Until they do ultimately get to our second act turning point, which is literally the all is lost moment. All the memories are lost. The final memory, which was their initial actual meet cute moment.
This is it, Joel. It's gonna be gone soon.
I know.
With the final message being, as Memory Clementine whispers into his ear,
Maybe in one time.
that's our central relationship, okay? Joel and Clementine. But at the same time, there's another subplot, another relationship that actually makes a difference in this film. And that is Mary, the Kirsten Dunst character, and her relationship with the doctor, which follows the same beats. The first act turning point is when we first meet them, essentially, when Joel comes in for the procedure.
Thank you.
And we start to see little hints that she's got a crush on him at least. The midpoint of this is when she's at the procedure at Joel's apartment and Howard comes over to help out.
Come on, Mary, what are you doing here?
The second act turning point for that is when the wife turns up and Mary finds out the truth.
Don't be a monster, Howard. Tell the girl.
Tell me what?
Oh, you poor kid. You can have him. You did.
That she'd had her own memory erased because they'd already had an affair, or as Howard puts it.
We have a history.
The moment Joel loses his last memory and wakes up again in the bed and finds his car damaged and chooses to get the wrong train to Montauk, we now know we're recreating that opening sequence, and we then continue that into what happens after that sequence ended, which is as a result of what Mary did, sending out all the files and cassettes, Clementine hearing the cassette in the car.
My name is Clementine Krasinski. I'm here to erase Joel Barish.
What is this?
And likewise with Joel at the end.
Where's the real Clementine? I mean, the whole thing with the hair. It's all bullshit.
I really like your hair.
Thank you.
I really like your hair.
Thank you.
This is the third act of the film. It's barely 10 minutes long. And the climax is, of course, that final moment in the hallway, which, like every rom-com, like every love story, usually they're running to the airport. In this case, they're just running down the hall outside the apartment.
Wait.
And with that brief exchange and the final...
And I'll get bored with you and feel trapped because that's what happens with me.
Okay.
Okay.
we have the resolution of our theme. So what is the theme? What does the title mean? Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Well, we get the quote from Mary.
How happy is the blameless vessel's lot. Eternal sunshine of a spotless mind. Each prayer accepted and each wish resigned.
It means essentially, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a spotless mind with no bad memories, with no heartache, with no grief? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a mind where you only had happy thoughts? Eternal sunshine. The lesson of the film, however, is that's nice in principle, but it's not realistic. And in fact, if you're going to have a relationship, you need to have it warts and all. You need the good with the bad. You need the happy with the sad, right? This is what they say at the end of the film. Now that they know fully what the other person will become in the course of their relationship, their new relationship, they already know the worst. They've already told themselves what that worst will be, and yet they choose to do it anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
The same with the Kirsten Dunst character, where she realizes that what the procedure is doing is actually not healthy. The doctor says it himself.
Technically speaking, the procedure is brain damage.
So physically it's not healthy, but also emotionally. It's a way of avoiding the issue rather than confronting it and dealing with it. That is the theme, that is the lesson we're trying to teach Joel and Clementine in particular. The characters of Patrick and Stan, very nicely played, but they're relatively unimportant as characters. They're really plot devices. Now, Patrick doesn't really have an arc of his own. He serves more as the rebound boyfriend for Clementine.
Nothing makes any sense. Nothing makes any sense.
Oh, Tangerine.
Nothing makes any sense.
And as a kind of nemesis for Joel.
Tangerine.
He does.
How does he know to call you that?
But they're not really full three-dimensional characters in the sense that they have their own story. Again, Stan is having a rebound relationship with Mary.
For a reason.
It's amazing,
like
isn't it?
Social justice. Yeah, it's totally incredible.
What Howard gives to the world.
Mary's the only other character that really gets a true arc.
How'd I look?
Looked happy. Happy with a secret.
But there's no real antagonist here. The antagonist, if you like, is the individuals who choose to undergo this procedure. They're doing it to themselves. Clementine and Joel become each other's antagonist from time to time, but that's life, that's argument, that's relationship, right? In a way, the antagonist is the procedure itself. The fact that this procedure is offered and people choose to do it. There is no real antagonist in this film. That makes it a much more character-driven film than plot-driven, unlike Adaptation and unlike Being John Malkovich. They do have characters, that characters do make choices, but they are largely more plot-driven films, where there are outside circumstances that are compelling people to react and try to fix an external problem. Here, the problem is created by the characters making a choice right up front, choosing to have their memory erased. That makes it much more character-driven. That said, we have a very plot-heavy film. There's a lot of complications, and despite the three-act structure I outlined just then, there's a very non-linear nature to it as well, of course, with a forward and a reverse timeline. And all through the film, we're intercutting between these two separate timelines in different ways, to the extent that they get very blurred, and that's on purpose. So that's my analysis of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. If you like this kind of thing, you want to watch more, you know what to do. If you'd like to learn more about filmmaking and the craft of making your own film, check out my book here, links down below. Leave a comment if there's another film you would like me to analyze, and I'll try to get to it. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Change your heart. Look around.